Okay, so we had a DUI accident where a guy kept driving straight into the woods into a tree because his GPS was predicting a future street. He walked back to his hotel room and left his check-in papers in the car. So we go to the hotel and go to his room and knock on the door. He did not have to answer. But he did. He was pretty clearly drunk. I asked him if he had anything to drink since the accident. He did not have to answer. He could have told us that he drank after the accident. He said, "No, I haven't had anything to drink since the accident." And where I'm from, you have 24 hours to report a property damage only accident. So it wasn't even a hit and run. So as I'm locking the guy up, he tells me he's a lawyer. I told him I hope you're not a defense attorney. But in his defense, he was drunk. I was asked to help keep peace while 2 probation officers searched a guy's house. Before everyone gets upset, in most jurisdictions, you have to submit to a search of your person and your home if you're on probation. During the search, a PO lifted the probationer's mattress and said monotonously, "Wow." The probationer got upset and said, "Yeah, it's fucking meth and a gun. Arrest me, I don't give a fuck." Turns out the PO found a huge dildo, but after the guy opened his mouth, the PO lifted the mattress more and found a bunch of individually wrapped grams of meth and a Glock 17. The PO said that seeing the dildo was enough for him to ignore the mattress, but because the guy said something, he kept looking. That guy's attitude and his need to open his mouth got him 10 years in prison. Pull over this guy for expired tabs. Ask for his ID and he's feeling around for his wallet. Can't find it. He says, "Oh man, I'm one of you, it's school." "Oh, what department?" "Oh, actually I'm a security guard, but same thing." Impolite, "So where's your ID?" "Oh, it's in E." And he motions to the trunk. "It's in the trunk." "Actually, no. My BS radar is going off." "Okay, want to get your ID out of the trunk?" "No, I don't have it." He starts looking around for another story to use. "But now I know I'm supposed to stay out of the trunk." He's also not giving me any more information. "No ID, then I have to take you in and get you fingerprinted." I'm going to get into that trunk one way or another. He's looking like he's lost. I ask him what's in the trunk, but he's not talking anymore. We pull him out and get him in cuffs. Another officer takes him to get ID through fingerprints. Since his car is expired past 6 months, California, we tow the car. In the process of getting ready to tow the car, we need to take a quick inventory. In the trunk was a police uniform with fake patches and a metal badge. No gun, but a duty belt. He also has stacks of child porn. This is a guy who a neighboring city had been looking for months. His mo was to dress as a police officer, talk to kids, and you can figure out the rest. If he just gave me his name, I could have looked up his ID and verified he had one. It'd probably have let him go. But, edit, the neighboring city had zero information as to his name. They only had a vague description of the car and the fact he was posing as a police officer. In fact, what he would do is start talking to a kid in the 9-12-year-old range. Tell him he has to be taken in for questioning, handcuff the kid, and take him to his car. He was a bad dude. No a police officer, but I do know of this house in my local village that was a notorious drug den. The police came to search the place but couldn't find anything. As they were leaving, the lovely owner yelled at him that they should have brought the drug dogs. So yeah, they came back a few days later with the drug-sniffing dogs and found huge amounts of drugs hidden away. Absolute morons. A cousin of a friend of mine travels around the state to take in deadbeat dads. Gets to one place, a 4-year-old kid is home, dada isn't. So the cop starts talking to the kid, making sure he's okay and such. After a bit of this, kid says to cop, "Want to see my dad's secret garden?" takes him to a closet with a full spack, opens it up to see a small pot farm. Guy gets home to a few cop cars and a few charges. I'm a nice guy, and I enjoy a chat. You'd be surprised how much this lowers someone's guard. Stood in full uniform, people will just start telling you things that could get them in trouble. Multiple times I had to tell people to shut up. It was usually petty things like where they hid their weed stash, that they'd got a bifter in their pocket for later. Not really worth the time and effort to deal with how skeezed we were. One time a guy really got himself in trouble by effectively telling me he had stolen property on him. I had to act on that one. This is going to be buried, but it's funny, so here. I was a cop on an Air Force base in Alaska. 3 guys robbed our Class 6 store liquor and we responded to the store but got caught in traffic at a light on the way. So we were sitting there with lights and sirens on trying to get people to move out of the way when the back door to the car ahead of us opens and a guy gets out and goes spread eagle against his trunk. Confused, we get out to see what was up and realize that these were the robbers. Edit, thank you for the silver! Exclamation mark. So after calling it in and making the arrests, we told them that we had no idea they were who they were. The driver and front passenger were pretty upset with the backseat passenger. Not a cop but a witness. During college, my friends and I would hang out outside and smoke hookah. Frequently we would invite strangers who pass by to join, or campus police would casually chat with us as they made their rounds. So one time a group of freshmen walked past and asked to join. After about 15 minutes the campus police car rolls up and the freshmen get visibly nervous. We tell them calm down, the cops are chill. As soon as the cop gets out of the car, one freshman bolts and makes it about 20 feet before the cop tackles him. We all clap and heckle the kid. Upon searching him, the cop finds a bunch of weed, then he says, "You realize prior to running, I had no reason to be suspicious. I just wanted to talk to my friends over there," and points at us. The cop ends up writing a ticket and sends him off. Currently watching live PD, and the guy told the officer, "I have caffeine pills in my back pocket," gets them out, puts them on the hood, everyone's chill. Dude then comes clean and says it's Molly, and the officers look at each other and go, "Do we even have a test kit for that?" Other officer says no, dude's face just shows he should have kept his mouth shut. Edit, spelling and grammar. He wouldn't have gotten away with it, but a patron of the bar that my sister worked at many years ago was stopped by the troopers while driving along next to the highway in the ditch. His explanation: "Officer, I'm way too drunk to be on the road." The absolute best example of this has to be Dennis Rader a.k.a. the BTK Killer. For those of you unfamiliar with BTK, it stood for Bind, Torture, Kill, and he was a notorious serial killer spanning several decades from 1974 until 1991, and he's responsible for at least 10 murders. Anyway, BTK went silent for a long time and nobody had heard anything up until 2004 when he started sending in letters to the police and media again. In 2005 he sends a letter to the police asking if he sends in a floppy disk will they be able to trace it. They tell him no, so the doofus sends them a disk. They are able to recover metadata from a deleted Word document from the disk which contained his name and the church where he was president of the council. They were easily able to find him after that, and he was arrested and eventually given 10 consecutive life sentences. He probably could have gotten away with all those murders if he would have just stayed silent. I'm a police officer in the UK. It was about 2 a.m., which meant streetlights were off. As I was patrolling, I saw a vehicle drive with only his side lights on. Spun around, pulled him over. I asked for his license and it's a provisional. His co-pilot was 20 and didn't have a license, and the vehicle didn't have L plates. This means he's driving otherwise than in accordance of his license and also driving with no insurance, because as if he did have any insurance, driving otherwise than in accordance normally invalidates it. So I got him in the back of my car to speak to him, start writing out a traffic ticket for no insurance, and was going to seize the car and let him off for driving otherwise in accordance. However, as I am writing the ticket, he says to me, "I shouldn't even be driving this car, my mate doesn't even know I took it." I just kinda paused. "I'm sorry, what?" "Yeah, my mate lives just up the road and I was round his. He fell asleep, so I thought I'd just take the car and go for a ride." Right. I get another unit to go to the address, and the suspect's friend confirms he's not happy for him to be having the car, especially now that it's being seized. So now, instead of 6 points and a £200 fine and a pissed-off friend, he gets nicked for twok, taking a vehicle without the owner's consent, driving otherwise than in accordance of his license, and for no insurance. He's been to court and received 6 points and just shy of £1,000 in fines and costs, as well as a pissed-off mate, and spent a night in a cell. Edit. Fix the Americanisms. Do not forget to like and subscribe for more Reddit Reading Robot content.